kids are learning new skills. Teachers help students make the mud and encourage them to play with it, even stomp around in it. The school allocates one day each week for outdoor play and has constructed a mud pit to enhance the experience. Nature play is seen as a key part of teaching children how to take risks and to look after themselves outdoors. Experts say it also helps teachers learn more about their students. As more and more learning happens online, childhood development experts say outdoor play is increasingly important. For these kids, learning has never been so much fun.
But then how do you hose them all down before they go back inside?
All right, that's our time for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here again tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, why Madison police and state officials have issued a public health alert for Dane County.
Republican lawmakers say they want to protect students and families if a tuition freeze is to go away at UW system schools. We'll explain the new proposal.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3 Now. Health organizations are issuing an alert about a high number of suspected opioid overdoses in Dane County.
It's part of a new system aiming to proactively get the message out to be prepared in case overdoses are on the rise for any reason. Our Madeline O'Neill explains how health officials think this can help. Maddie?
Susan and Eric, in the first alert of its kind today, the Department of Health Services put out a message that Dane County has seen 6 non-fatal overdoses in hospital emergency rooms in the past week. According to CDC data, that number is higher than what the county would usually expect in that time frame. Public Health Madison and Dane County sent out the alert, hoping it encourages emergency responders, those with substance abuse disorders, and their friends and family members to have Narcan on hand. Public Health Supervisor Julie Olson says the higher than usual number can be indicative of a more potent batch of heroin.
A lot of times when we talk about overdoses, we're talking about what did we see in the last month, what did we see in the last year, or the last 6 months. So this is drilling in to a much smaller time frame so that we can respond and be a little bit more responsive and prevent fatalities or other issues from happening.
Olson says as of now, an alert is triggered if more than 5 people overdose in hospital rooms. But as more data is gathered, that may change. And we reported earlier this month that Madison police have actually been seeing a downward trend in overdoses in the city. And they say that has been continuing, but this recent alert is based on Dane County data.
All right, thanks, Maddie.
City of Madison Engineering Department says American Transmission Company will keep the 700 block of East Main Street closed for up to 2 months after the fires at the Blount substation. Officials say the road needs to be closed to provide staging for the equipment and tanks needed to handle the hazardous waste removal. South Livingston and South Blount streets will remain open. 5 people were hospitalized after a 3-vehicle crash in Dodge County. The sheriff's office there says happened on State Highway 33 at County Road TW in the town of Hubbard. Deputies say a car was turning onto TW when a van hit the car, which caused it to go into the eastbound lane of traffic. That's when a Toyota hit that car. The driver of the car sustained minor injuries. The driver and passenger in the Toyota have minor injuries, were hospitalized. The driver of the van has serious injuries, and 2 children in the van had minor injuries. The crash remains under investigation.
A 26-year-old motorcyclist died this morning after losing control of her motorcycle and hitting a retaining wall last night. According to an incident report, witnesses said the woman lost control of the motorcycle on Dempsey Road around 8:30. She was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries and died from those injuries several hours later.
A man arrested, now facing several charges after hitting another man with a cane. Madison police say this happened in the 600 block of State Street yesterday afternoon. They say 28-year-old William Valenti is accused of hitting a 48-year-old man in the head with a cane. The victim told police he knew Valenti and was trying to avoid conflict, but Valenti wanted violence. As officers took Valenti to jail, he made loud threats, they say, including saying he planned to kill the victim once he got back on the streets. The victim needed 10 stitches to close a head wound that resulted from that strike with the cane.
Authorities in Missouri are investigating after they found an abandoned vehicle that was driven by 2 missing Wisconsin brothers. Yesterday, an abandoned vehicle was located at a parking lot in Holt, Missouri. Deputies say the vehicle was determined to be the one driven by the 2 missing missing brothers from Shawano County, Nicholas and Justin Diemel, who traveled to Missouri for business in Caldwell and Clinton counties. Nicholas's wife said she last spoke to her husband on Sunday. The brothers own a livestock company and were visiting farms in Missouri on Saturday.
Let's get a look at your first alert weather now. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield joining us on the weather patio. Dave?
Well, Eric, another pretty typical summer day across southern Wisconsin. And once again, we've seen some isolated showers and thunderstorms develop to the west of Madison right now, seeing a few blips on radar a little bit closer to Platteville across portions of Grant County into Iowa and Lafayette counties as well. And a tiny baby thunderstorm, maybe just to the north of Monroe in Greene County. Madison, though, looking at mostly sunny skies still, partly cloudy skies in some other spots on the WISC-TV Skycam. Temperatures are in the 80s generally across southern Wisconsin, a little bit cooler near Lake Michigan and cooler near that rain-cooled air across portions of Lone Rock and Mineral Point. Dew points are looking pretty nice for most of us, the exception a little bit closer to where that rain is falling. That could have helped spark some of those showers, where dew points are in the lower to middle 60s. So temperatures will fall to the 60s tonight. Any showers and thunderstorms will diminish this evening, and then tomorrow we'll be back in the mid 80s with plenty of sunshine. We'll talk about the humidity and temperature increasing a little bit by the weekend in your first alert forecast.
All right, Dave, thank you. A new Republican proposal would allow the UW system to raise tuition if the current freeze is lifted, but there is a catch.
Lawmakers say their goal is to prevent skyrocketing tuition and to put protections in place for students and their families. Rose Schmidt is here to explain the new bill and the reaction to it. Rose?
Yes, well, the Fair Future Tuition Act would not end the freeze on undergrad in-state tuition, but it would put a cap on how much the UW system can raise tuition if the freeze is lifted.
It's honestly a lot.
The workload is piling on for these UW-Madison students, and we're not just talking about coursework.
I have to work 2 jobs to go to school.
I was working night shift last semester you get paid more at a hospital for night shifts.
In-state tuition has been frozen for students like Allie, Andia, and Nikita since 2013, and will stay that way for the next 2 years under the state budget signed by the governor. But after that, it's up in the air.
And if my tuition went up, I don't know if I would be able to afford it.
State lawmakers are now starting a conversation that could eventually lead to higher rates.
We look at the amount of revenue that...
Republican Representative Dave Murphy is introducing the Fair Future Tuition Act, putting in place what's called cohort tuition.
When your student, when your young person starts in school, they will know how much their tuition is going to be while they're in school, because their tuition would be locked for 4 years.
Under the plan, the Board of Regents could increase tuition for each incoming class, up to the Consumer Price Index.
The legislature and the governor have had an opportunity to benefit Wisconsin families with a tuition freeze. It can't go on forever.
The proposal is still in its early stages, but Murphy hopes it will lead to a conversation about whether the current freeze is the best way forward for universities and stakeholders.
I would support lifting the freeze, but I don't want to endorse any particular bill.
On campus, students are just hoping to make lawmakers understand the burden that comes with tuition.
I'm lucky enough that my parents are in my life and help me out with it. For kids that don't have that, I think that would be impossible.
A spokesperson for the UW system says officials have discussed the proposal with Representative Murphy and will provide more input once the bill has been introduced. Murphy's office says that will happen within the next week.
All right, Rose Schmidt reporting. Rose, thank you.
Thanks, Rose.
Alliant Energy is going home to relight gas service to 675 customers in Baraboo and surrounding areas. The gas service was halted after a utility crew digging near the intersection of Vine and Maple Streets hit a gas line. This was yesterday. Alliant says so far just 251 of those 675 have been restored. They currently have 30 crews from around the state working to relight those pilot lights one at a time. Officials say they have relit all properties where the homeowner was actually home at the time. Crews hope to have service fully restored by later tonight.
Less traffic congestion on the Beltline. Is it possible? The Department of Transportation seems to think so. Here's a live look at a public meeting that the DOT is holding on Park Street, which is expected to start soon. The DOT is considering opening up the shoulder of the Beltline to drivers during peak traffic times, essentially adding an additional lane of traffic. The extra lane would go from Whitney Way to the interstate. Drivers would be signaled by electrical signs. A green arrow indicates the shoulder is open, and a red X would indicate it's closed. At least 17 other states have opened up shoulders on some of their roadways to improve traffic flow and address overcrowding.
School year right around the corner now, and area districts are looking for bus drivers. Lamers is hosting an open house today for future employees both in Monroe and in Wanakee. The event features interviews for new jobs, opportunities to talk to current school bus drivers, and also test drive the buses. Lamer says candidates will need a good driving record, at least 4 years of experience driving any vehicle, be at least 21 years old and pass the drug test as well as a background check.
It's a good job for retired people. It's a great job for a mom with a couple of little kids at home because you can bring your children right on the bus. So 4 hours a day brings in nice extra money. We pay up to $18 an hour now.
And if you missed the event today, the Wanakee Lamers location on Ramish Road will also be open for school bus test drives and interviews this Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. during the community's WannaFest.
As soon as November, Madison restaurants and bars could only be allowed to give out plastic straws if a customer specifically asks for one. Alder Syed Abbas will present plans for that new city ordinance on August 6th. It's an effort to cut back on plastic that ends up in rivers and oceans. Under the proposed rule, restaurants could still give straws to takeout and drive-through customers and offer paper or reusable metal straws to dine-in customers.
The Green Bay Packers are releasing a veteran defensive player, parting ways with Mike Daniels. The 30-year-old Pro Bowler suffered a season-ending foot injury last season. Daniels' release comes the day after the Packers signed defensive lineman Dean Lowry to a 3-year, $20 million contract. Green Bay opens up preseason action again August 8th when J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans come to Lambeau Field.
After nearly 2 decades of neglect and decay, there is evidence of new life at the Garver Feed Mill. Madison's third Ian's Pizza opened at Garver Feed Mill earlier today, but Ian said they had to close down at 2 o'clock this afternoon because they ran out of dough and other ingredients. Ian says that they'll be closing down a few days in order to restock ingredients. All new businesses at the Garver Feed Mill site will be open by fall, including an event center, a coffee roaster, a florist, photography studio, a spa, a yoga studio, a vegan cafe, and a distributor of sustainably caught salmon.
And there's more to come tonight at 5. Up next, a new study shows that Wisconsin is one of the best states for retirement. We'll tell you why.
And then coming up tonight at 6, a Rock County family says the loss of their son is tied to a much larger issue surrounding drug rehabilitation. We'll have their warning coming up at 6.
And on Wall Street, midweek trading yields mixed results. A 79-point loss for the Dow. The Nasdaq adds 70, and the S&P was up 14. We'll be right back. If you're looking for the best state to retire in, turns out you don't have to go anywhere.
More and more people are choosing Wisconsin for its affordability as our state comes in just outside the top 10. Our Josh Spreiter shares why.
The people that we meet here, it's just been great watching them grow up, watching their kids grow up. It's a lot of fun.
Meet Dennis and Leanne Ethan. They're retired, but you wouldn't know it.
We've not only lived in Madison for only 30 years, 33 years? Mm-hmm. We lived in the same house that long. So we enjoy our neighborhood as well. There's no reason to leave the city.
The Ethans own What's Brewing, a coffee shop / restaurant / gift shop in Sun Prairie, which their daughter manages and granddaughters work at. A family business within a community that has become family.
We love the Four Seasons. Even though we kind of hate the cold weather every once in a while, we still love the season changes and the culture here, everything. This was our place.
The Ethans aren't alone in that thinking, according to the latest survey by Bankrate.com, as Wisconsin comes in as the 12th best state to retire in.
Affordability in Wisconsin is actually pretty good overall in comparison to most of the other states.
Retirement expert Mark Varnon says Wisconsin has a lot of things going, including overall wellness and culture and a low crime rate, especially in the Madison area. There's really only one area we don't score well on.
One of the things that retirement people look at is weather. And of course, we can't do anything about the weather.
Varnon says the main reason many retired folks like the Ethans stick around, family.
In Wisconsin, residents are very tuned into their families, and when I meet with my clients, for example, they're always talking about wanting to have proximity to their children or their friends.
While Wisconsin came in as the 12th best state for retirement, our neighbor to the west, Minnesota, came in as the 11th worst. That's because of higher taxes and housing costs there, and yes, a worse weather score. Our state also ranks higher than most on the coast and to the south, where many people tend to flock to.
Now, it is a little bit more expensive in Madison than it might be, say, in Beaver Dam or in Shawano or other cities in Wisconsin, but overall, our housing costs are quite a bit less, as are our food costs. And our transportation costs are also less.
The Ethans plan to stay busy at the shop while also managing some rental properties. All things Varnon says have been good for them.
First of all, make certain that you've done everything you can as early as you can to save everything you can for retirement.
A mindset that keeps this family a-brewin'.
This is our place.
Josh Spreiter, News 3 Now.
And we hope to keep this conversation going about prices in Madison. News 3 Now wants to know what kind of affordability questions that you might have or what you're experiencing. So let us know by emailing tips@channel3000.com. You can also reach out on our News 3 Now Facebook page.
I really didn't like that video of the snow being shoveled there. Dave Caulfield joining us now with a forecast right now. That's been very, very nice, Dave.
Yeah, that video made me shiver over here at the weather wall as well. Nothing like that outside today for southern Wisconsin. Another warm and pretty typical summer day. We've been pretty quiet on visible cloud track for much of this Wednesday. The only exception is west of Madison. We've seen a couple of pretty weak showers and thunderstorms fire up. You can see them on Doppler track right now. We do have some storms well to the north and east, getting a little bit closer to Green Bay, but just some blips here and there. So a downpour here and there, that's really all we're talking about. Maybe a strike of lightning or two, but really not looking at too much activity. And once these storms fire up, the forcing is so weak that they really go to bed pretty quickly after they form. In Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam did see some showers and storms off in the distance in this part of Grant County earlier on this afternoon, but now looking pretty nice with mostly to partly sunny skies. Similar story on the Edgewater Skycam in Madison. We see a couple of cumulus clouds up there, but nothing too concerning right now. Today's high 84 degrees, so a little bit above normal for this time of year. We'll be in similar temperature territory as we head into tomorrow as well. Some other temperatures, we're at 83 right now in Madison, 72 in Mineral Point. It's quite a bit cooler. That's because that's where that shower activity and thunderstorm activity has been for the past few hours. We're feeling pretty comfortable this afternoon in Madison with dew points in the upper 50s and a lot of 50s east of Madison. Now to the west of Madison is a little bit more humid as it typically is, but also these slightly higher dew points may have contributed to those showers and thunderstorms forming. In Madison, we haven't seen any rain so far this week. We had quite a bit last week with that oppressively humid weather that was in town, producing a lot of those raindrops. So we're actually well above normal for the month of July as far as rainfall goes, about 5.5 inches of rain, and we still have a week left to go. I don't think we'll see any really measurable rain chances or good rain chances until we get to the start of next week. As far as high temperatures go, they'll start to go up a little bit as well as we get into this weekend. Those are sometimes related. We are in the upper 80s for Friday and Saturday and near 90 on Sunday. Could have some showers and thunderstorms develop on Sunday and Monday. And our dew point is starting to go up a little bit as well. We did have dew points in Madison in the lower 60s earlier this morning, but it's been a pretty comfortable afternoon. But we'll start to creep up in temperature land and in humidity land as well until we get to Sunday, and then that's when we'll feel a little bit uncomfortable with dew points in the mid to upper 60s. Overnight, we'll fall into the lower 60s as far as temperatures go, so that will be pleasant and comfortable. Mostly clear skies after these evening showers and thunderstorms to the west of us do start to clear up. Then we'll be in the mid 80s once again for tomorrow. Mostly sunny, continued warm outside. Pretty quiet pattern overall with high pressure dominating pretty much no matter where you look across southern Wisconsin. So we'll be in the 80s as we head into tomorrow under mostly sunny skies. And then on Friday, maybe a few more clouds visit us early in the morning. But I don't think we'll see any showers. Our models did have a couple of showers trying to form early on Friday morning, but our latest runs have kind of backed off of that solution. So we'll keep the forecast dry for now. 7 to 10 day forecast showing the humidity on the increase though as we head into Friday and Saturday. And then we're still pretty humid on Sunday with showers and thunderstorms possible Sunday and Monday. Dry for Tuesday. And a couple more chances for showers and storms as we head into next week. So here is a look at your first alert traffic update. We are taking a live look at the Beltline and Mineral Point Road where there is an accident there and there are some delays on the westbound side there. And we've seen some delays there, and you can see the, there we go. There's my notification. An accident at Mineral Point Road and the Beltline there. So keep in mind that we are seeing some delays on the westbound side and also the normal delays on the eastbound side a little bit closer to Park Street. Right now costing 34 minutes from University Ave to the interstate eastbound with an average speed around 25 miles per hour. And that is your first alert traffic update.
All right, thank you, Dave.
So ahead on News 3 Now at 5, Robert Mueller testified for more than 6 hours today about his report into Russian interference into the 2016 election. What both sides of the aisle are saying about his testimony, that's next. Robert Mueller has finished testifying before Congress. Mueller testified before two committees for more than 6 hours on his 448-page report into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Mueller said the interference was not a hoax and it was not an isolated episode. He warned that there should be a more robust effort to guard against future interference. Mueller had made clear in his report that he could not exonerate the president on obstruction of justice in the probe. Republicans say the hearings change nothing, while Democrats say the hearings show evidence of potential crimes in the White House.
I think at the end of the day, what we have found is exactly what we started with. There's been no movement. In fact, if anything, it's now time to move on.
This should have blown their minds because they saw for the first time Robert Mueller saying yes to multiple instances of obstruction of justice by Donald Trump. We've got a felon right now in the White House. American people are seeing it.
President Trump says the Russia probe created a, quote, phony cloud over his administration and says House committee hearings featuring testimony from special counsel Mueller were all, quote, nonsense. House Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff said the Democratic investigations will continue.
It's been a costly day for Facebook. The government is fining the tech giant $5 billion for privacy violations, and in a separate case, the feds are tacking on another $100 million in penalties for misusing personal data. Under a settlement announced today with the Federal Trade Commission, the tech giant has agreed to take new steps to protect the private information of Facebook users. Facebook will create an independent privacy committee. The members, along with CEO Mark Zuckerberg, must report quarterly to the FTC that they are in compliance or face civil or criminal penalties.
Stay with us. We'll have another check your forecast in just a moment.
On tonight's CBS Evening News, will calls for President Trump's impeachment grow louder after today's fiery Mueller hearings? Or will Congress move on? Our political team breaks down an intense day on Capitol Hill. Boeing, one of the nation's largest employers, says it may have to temporarily halt production of its top-selling plane, the troubled 737 MAX. And our Eye on America series takes you to a town where the cancer risk is nearly 50 times the national average. What's causing it? That's all tonight, right here on the CBS Evening News.
It's going to be a nice night for Concert on the Square.
Yeah, I think those showers and storms will stay to the west of Madison, so we'll be looking at mostly sunny skies and pleasant temperatures, light winds as well as temperatures fall through the 70s tonight. 7 to 10 day forecast showing a slight warm up on the way over the next couple of days. Humidity goes up just a bit as well for Friday and Saturday. Some showers and thunderstorms come back into the forecast for Sunday and Monday.
And we're back in 30 minutes with more updates on News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.